recording? Done. Oh, we're live. We're live, my
We are
friend.
live now.
Yep. So, thank you again for coming, my friend.
Hey,
I
thank
was
you.
like,
Thank you so much for having me as well.
I was like, this because you know what happened to me, right? I mean, I've lost my job, so I cannot proceed.
Oh, really? I thought you're still working. Oh, no, you're not working with...
There's politics behind it, man. I quote unquote lost my
Okay.
job, and like even though I resigned peacefully, so here I am after God knows like 6-8 months, and finally here I am, and like got to meet you. I actually want to have Akmal here, but he wants to bring in friends and we want to talk about cars. I was like, I think I'm going to start off one-on-one again, and you are like the right person. I think last year, like when we met.
Yes, you did mention like you did
When we met
podcast,
and
but
yeah.
we still haven't planned out for us to have a session or something like that.
Yeah, and then was like try to when people ask me what's your podcast is all about, was like it based on the guest, and then you're just when someone want to talk about finance. I mean, I could bring Khairul here. I'm not sure if you ever met him. Writer. I think you've resigned already at the time. And Khairul is like one of our writer.
No, I don't think
Great.
so. Yeah.
He was here during episode 4 with Haziq when we talk about politics and Gaza and whatever happened there. And then
interesting.
Yeah, he's actually a good guy too. I mean, he knows more about not know more. I mean, he informed about whatever happened. I would like to bring him in too, but probably someone that could go into technical if I try to like compliment you a little bit here, because you have a degree, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I do. But I mean, Cairo, maybe he does know something a bit here and there, maybe because of reading and stuff like that.
He probably knows the macro, but I want someone that knows the micro of it, and probably you're the right guy on it. But just before we going on that, just not how, like why you like this kind of things. I mean, it's not just quote unquote money as a whole, but it's just financial as a whole, because it's getting bigger. Like the word financial itself is too general. So just what gets you in this thing? Like is it something that you interested when you were a kid, or just something that you build up, something that you pick up like that? The kid that you want to be an Ultraman, and suddenly that I like this thing. I like the money flows. You know what I mean? Just
Actually, to be honest with you, Fitri, I mean, no one in their right mind would think of like one day you're gonna grow up and become. I'm not saying I'm an economist, but growing up knowing all these things, no one in their right mind have that kind of like ambitions. True. I guess when we were kid, we normally have this kind of like becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, astronaut. Those things are doctrine to us. Like our parents want us to become something like that, correct?
Yeah.
And the way we were bring up is, how they want us to be. I mean, that's how it was supposed to be. So, to be honest with you, knowing all these things is not something that I have in mind when I was a kid. But again, like, everything is like with life, it changes, right? It constantly changes. We need to adapt to the changes. And I think the most, when I found about knowing this and loving this, about economic and everything about our financial world, is when I was, I'm 17. I'm not saying that I'm great with my SPM. No, everyone does. So at the time, I'm still looking like, what are the things that mostly I'm going to be able to passionate about? To be honest with you, I hate accounting. I hate it. I hate the way that you have to arrange the ledger, the debit and credit. I hate
and
those.
To balance it all.
Yes, to balance it all. That's the most. I hate the part, because if it's not balanced just by a decimal points, it's
frustrating.
You are frustrating. So when I was 17, and then my sister-in-law, so she mentioned to me about economic. So she mentioned the things that you're going to learn in economic, and I was interested, knowing about supply and demand, how the price of goods increases and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I said to her, I give it a try. And I take STPM with economics. I specialize in economics, and then in degree, which really puts the nails to my interest in economy as well, because the way they teach in my university is a little bit different, because everything was English based, and the term that they use is different than what I did in STPM, because in STPM semua bahasa Melayu.
Oh yeah.
And the term is confusing, man.
Yeah.
And in degree, and then I met my amazing people there that are really passionate about economic itself. So that's where I get into depth about economic, about financial, because when I start to realize it's actually something that I think you heard like many of like the financial influencers all saying that
Financial guru or
this thing,
something, yeah.
this thing needs to be taught in school, like taxes, financial knowledge, the basic stuff,
Yeah.
like how to manage your financial, whether to trade credit or not, how to take your car loan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this thing what makes me into it, and then because of my career as well, because I work in bank previously with CIMB, so I do a lot of like this financial product, and that's where I start to realize that this knowledge is very important for everyone to know. I'm not here to give any financial advice, no, but it's something that for you to ponder your mind and maybe had a little bit of it, Okay, yeah. So basically, that's how my inline, how I come to interest about economy, and now I'm more into, like you said, towards the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Which is more into, most Malaysia wouldn't like this word, but more into trading world itself and about investing itself. I wouldn't say investing. Investing is different than trading, but I'm more into trading itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we will come back to that. What the difference between trading and investing and stuff. But I'm sure that you know a lot of people's when you're talking with your colleagues. Yeah, you made up with some some great people that give you the idea and expose you to the idea, and also of course some of them are shady. Did you ever meet someone like that? It was like they are like the financial guru and do this, and they are broke themselves.
Correct. Yes.
Freaking
To be honest
stole your
with
money
you,
or something.
the most mind blowing that I get a realization is when I was working in bank. We were thought. Apologize for some of the things. It's gonna be a little bit of controversial, but it's just that this is what I've observed and seen myself
Just
in the banking industry.
Podcast,
It's in the banking industry. Basically, the things that what we were taught in the university is that the differences between Islamic banking and conventional banking. But then when I start to realize like two of the things, it's just give an alternative. Like Islamic banking is just giving an alternative for you to use, but beside the point, both are using the same things. You still have to be penalized if you pay something late.
Right.
Yeah, even though you are using Islamic, it's the same thing. It's just giving you an
You
alternative.
still pay more than in what you borrowed.
Yes, correct. It's the same thing, but the term is different. And the more I wasn't in the banking sector for that long to realize this, but it's enough for me to see it. And the thing that they practice, it's something that I really not keen of, the way they do stuff, the way they when you come to bank, and the way they encourage you to do some stuff without even realizing what your need is. Like maybe you just came in there to just do a little bit, but then they force you to do something else, something like that.
Yeah. Pardon me, but your hair really get my attention. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what the fuck is this guy's hair?
Why though?
No, it's cool. Other than that, bro, why do you think that they don't incorporate that in school? When you know that this is like the right thing that you need to teach, because that's the thing that you can't really teach it's in the form of textbook or something. It's just like like martial art and boxing. That they couldn't be okay. First step, throw the right hook. Second step, throw the left. You can't do that.
I understand. I understand your point
things get
completely.
involved. Why they didn't? I mean, is it something that I don't want to get into some conspiracy theory shit. You know what I mean? But why they don't teach this? Is there something that they don't want the public to know about or something?
Actually, I think Malaysia has come into realization that we kind of need this kind of education in our education system as early as we can. But I think one of the problem is that because we are not prepared yet to give this kind of knowledge to people. Not in the sense that we are dumb. No, it's not that. It's just that maybe the Malaysian itself is like to accept this kind of new things. It's like for them it's too much. Even in our when we were school, even for you to learn history, it's like you're gonna be bored to death when you are in the history
Except
class.
if you love it.
Except you love it.
Like me,
So yeah, it's the same thing basically. This kind of subject, if you teach to a high school student, they wouldn't really be interested because it's not something that they can imagine this is useful in the future. That's what I think it is. Imagine you go into a high schooler and you tell them about taxes. What do you think?
You're
It's like,
16,
right.
17 years
Yes.
old. You're
So-
looking out for a girlfriend or something.
correct,
Well,
yes.
what the fish is tax? Get
And
it all
suddenly
from me.
you mention about tax, you have to do this, you have to be responsible on your
Yeah.
spending. You don't want people to force you
Yeah,
into
yeah,
something.
yeah. When you are
remember-
24 years old and then you realize I should have learned this
Yes,
thing.
it's when you start having responsibility, then you realize how important it is. So it's not about we don't want to embed it in our education system. It's just that maybe we haven't prepared yet. And because the things that I read I watched some YouTube videos regarding our financial system, basically around the globe. Basically, the economic, how it works is that you need dumb money. What it essentially means that in the whole system, you need someone who has a lot of money to be pulled and then to be used by someone who's smart enough to use those money to be used, like maybe you open a business, maybe you do investment with it. So you need this dumb money. So where does this dumb money came from?
From dumb people that have money?
Dumb, I wouldn't say dumb people who doesn't.
I mean, that's what I literally said.
It literally translates to it, but it's just that when you have people who doesn't have this knowledge, so they don't know where the money they should be put, so they're gonna use whatever the system has been, put in front of you. Like, okay, where do you save your money? Put in bank. What do you get in bank? You get interest saving. You get profit from those accounts.
Right.
Yeah, so just follow it. You don't need to do anything. You get a profit, and at the end of the year, you get your return back. So
Yeah, true.
and those who are smart enough to play around with the system, like the taxes, opening business, taking risks, those are what we call the smart one, who, using the money that the people from the dumb money itself is actually a lot of money. It's not small money.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, so I think that's what I can see why, we are still in the system. You cannot break the change.
Of
actually.
course, you cannot break the chain. This I could say fiat money has been around since, I'm not saying forever. It's like, I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm sure that you know this. Since we actually tied the whole currency. This is where it actually gets mad. Where I technically get mad.
Yes.
When I think it starts snowballing is, I think in when the first Federal Reserve from America is like being established in 1913, right? And then they tied
To
the
the
currency
gold
with
reserve,
gold.
yes.
And then I think it's 1972 or 79, might get the year wrong. Then they detached from gold, so like one $20 bill is not equivalent to one gold coin anymore. And it was like, and at the same time, majority, if not all, the countries tied to US dollar. So that's why we saw on the news like how many ringgits equal to how many dollars, right? And then that itself is a suicide when they detach themselves from the gold. And I don't think that's a lot of people. I mean, the information is out there. I don't think there's a lot of people know why. I mean, I still talk to my friends that were I can say the financial people too, because he always teach me about financial. Like, Fitri, you need to be smart, do this, do that. Okay, all right, man. And then when I think we have a conversation, and then he confidently saying that, that the whole world currency are actually tied to gold. So you need to think. I was like, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Maybe
Since
previously,
1971.
yes.
I was like, dude, you're not. I'm not saying that you are not updated, but you are. So like, where does it goes from here? Because I saw a lot of outrages, especially online, especially on ads, that people started to know this. Like we just printing money for fun, and it's even though we didn't do it, we don't do it. I mean we do to a certain extent, but since we are tied to US dollar, we're going to kill ourselves. What I'm saying?
Actually, Like you said, it was stopped during the Bretton Woods system where previously it was tied, but because the United States Federal Reserve requires money to, I wouldn't say print out. So the printing of money, to give you a better illustration, it's not actually the government printing out money like they use a printer. Tuk, 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 tuk. No, it doesn't do like that. It doesn't do the way we imagine the printing of money terms used. But because at the time, US was, I believe they were in two biggest recession, the Great Recession in 1973, if I'm not mistaken, and then another one is in 1981 or 1983, where both are Great Depression for the United States. And that time, because they need to inject some money to the economy, and that's why they cannot tie it to gold, because when you tie your currency value to gold, means that you have a certain amount that you can print. Example like Bitcoin, you cannot have more money in the you cannot have more Bitcoin in circulation, because whatever the amount at the moment is that amount.
Right.
Because it based on the mining, the mining process. So because they want to have more money injected into the economy, that's why they need to remove the system itself. And that's why now our currency, we call it the floating currency. Basically, whatever your currency was against United States, let's say us, USD, MYR, it's always floating. It depends on the supply and demand. So in a way, I don't say it's much of a currency. Yes, it's a currency in the meaning itself. It's a mean of exchanging goods, right? So you have money, you want to buy bread, so you exchange it. Okay. But now it's more of commodity. The money itself is a commodity. Why can I say so? Because it has a supply and demand. If you demand more of ringgit, basically your value going to increase because you demand more of ringgit, correct?
Right.
But if you demand more of dollar, then dollars will be increasing, as what's happening right now.
Yeah.
We imagine in 2015 or I think 2014, our currency with dollar was what, 3.7, 3.5 or something, if I'm not mistaken. That time was, everyone was like, we like it. We export a lot of product. We import a lot of product from the United States because our currency is good. But now imagine 4.73, and I believe it can go as high as 5. Maybe not this year. Maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, if it's as fast as it can be, maybe by end of this year. But it can go to 5 because it depends on the supply and demand. So this system, you cannot demolish it because we depends on the, I would say, capitalist system, which depends on the interest rate. That's where the secret recipe, I would say.
Mamma mia.
Yes, the
spice,
the
right there, man.
spice, the extra flavor. Interest rate
That's
is
the
the one.
only ingredients there. I don't think there's extra flavor, man.
Because of that, we cannot escape the system. Any country cannot do it. If you try to imagine, Turkey tried to did it. If you read it a few years back, they tried to do it actually, where they tried to escape the conventional system by not using the interest rate, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But if you see how their currency devalued this year, they are in hyperinflation, like crazy. Their currency is like worthless.
That's just because they go against US dollar, right?
Yeah, correct. It's because of that. When your example, like, our citizen in Malaysia, we are always saying, why the government is not doing anything with our currency? It's not as simple as a question like, hey, do something with the currency. You can do something.
All right, I lower it.
It's like a button. Okay, okay for everyone. I give $4 now. It's not as simple as answering that. It's because, like I said to you just now, it's based on the supply and demand. It's not only us who demands or supplying this ringgit. It's the whole world. The global economy is the one, whether they demands it or they want to supply more of ringgit, and that's where you can see it. And so, because of example why our currency is going so devaluing against USD, because at the moment, if you guys were keeping news about United States, their interest rate, if I'm not mistaken, is 5.25 or 5.5. So it's between those range. And if I were to ask you, what is our interest rate at the moment? if you know about it.
I don't know. I only
don't really-
know
okay.
about inflation
So,
or something. Yeah. Go on.
For us, it's about 3%. So the differences of the interest rate. So the things about interest rate is that the higher the interest rate, I would say the more attractive for investor. So if I were to ask you, which number is bigger now?
5.
5. So where do you want to invest your money?
What do you mean? Where I want to invest the
Yes.
money?
So
I mean,
United States
sector
has
or
5%,
something? Uh-huh.
and for us it's 3%. Where would you put your money? US or Malaysia?
By rights, Malaysia, if my understanding is correct, because have less interest rate.
No, the higher the number, the better
Why?
for interest rate. Because with interest rate, the higher the interest rate, the better for your currency.
Higher the interest rate, the better for your currency. Okay.
Yes. So in United States, now the interest rate is 5.25. So if I put my money in a US saving deposit, okay,
Oh.
right? So if I have $1 and I put into a US saving deposit, I earn 5%.
Oh, you're asking me what? Oh, the saving deposit. I thought it was like if I was a
Okay.
country.
Yeah,
I was
if you were a country,
where do I
then
want to
that's
invest?
a
I
different
was
yes.
like,
That's a different yes.
I'm thinking Malaysia, man.
But in terms of like at the moment where the investor want to put the money, they choose the higher interest rate. So if they have money and they put in saving in US, so they earn 5%. So in Malaysia, you only earn, let's say, 3%. So you would choose the higher number, correct? And that's where the imbalances come from. You know, that's how the economy actually works in
Right.
terms of interest rate. Yes.
Wow. So back to dollar. I think that's what Russian and the Chinese, and I think you have ever heard of BRICS, right?
Who?
BRICS.
BRICS, yes.
Yeah, what they're doing since they've been first established, I think it's 2008 after the
Yes.
financial crisis, right? They ditched the dollarization, and then they ditched SWIFT because you know how the SWIFT trading works, right?
Yeah.
Between banks and banks, dollar and dollar.
Yes.
That's how they keep dollar in demand. So now Russia and China has trade with each other, ditch the US dollar. I think China sold their bond, I think like how many billions they sold, and then India, as of I think yesterday I saw the news that they're secretly buying back their gold from UK or something. That as if they're preparing for something. There's Russian buying back golds, China buying back golds and stuff. And
Okay,
what
yeah,
what
there's
what
actually
what
a
do you
reason.
think about BRICS, especially after the when Russians showed that US can sanction us? But why should I give a fuck? Look at me, you know. But they sanctioned Venezuela. Look at Venezuela. They
yeah.
sanctioned Iran. They sanctioned Turkey. Look at them. But they sanctioned Russia and was like, no, you're not the only big boys around, my friend. You know, I'm still keep going. You know, I have this trade and it was this stuff. They're like a big boss move. How do you see BRICS topple the de-dollarization? And if it's something good, I think that the only country in Southeast Asia that considering to join BRICS is Indonesia.
Indonesia,
Yeah.
maybe Singapore. I think Singapore
maybe.
has no.
I think Singapore has a
no,
good
they won't
ties.
do it because
Singapore
it
has
has
a good
so good
ties,
ties with
yeah.
the United States. Yes,
But what do you think about BRICS, and like it's 20 years from now, and also why Malaysia hasn't shown any interest yet to BRICS, or like they want to just play the dollar game?
I think BRICS was going big. I think last year. I think so.
Last 2 years, I guess.
Last 2 years, and I think last year when they say there was a country that joined. I can't remember which country that joined last year, where everyone was so hot with the topic of BRICS. See this BRICS is like it's gonna put down the power of the United States.
You can actually put down, dude. I mean,
not
Vladimir
put-
Putin said it's actually you have a choice. You know, it's not like you drink Coke every day. Finally, you have a choice of coffee
You have a
or
choice.
something.
But if
BRICS
you
member.
ask my opinion about BRICS, actually, to be honest, if you said to me maybe 20 years or maybe 15 years ahead, BRICS might have some impact to the whole how we interact with different countries globally.
Good or bad?
I can't say either it's good or bad. This is how economy speaking actually, by the way. We don't go, okay, this is good. and 100% good. No, we
yeah,
try to look both way, like what are the good and bads. With BRICS, it's kind of like putting down the monopolies of the United States, basically from stopping them to manipulate their currency.
Right.
Like I said to you just now, the interest rate. So when they raise the interest rate, other currency devalue. Have you seen yen, Japanese? With Japanese, it's like the worst, and it's the best for us because now it's cheap for us to go to Japan. If you're planning to have your trip, go to Japan now. Actually, I'm looking at the chart, and you better go to Japan now. So Japan is the most currency performing in Asia, period. So when our netizens are saying about Malaysia currency, they should look at Japan, see how the economy is suffering. It's not suffering; they are still big economy, but their people is suffering because of this currency devaluation. So because of breaks, so this put of like a notification to United States, like, hey, you're not the only big boys here now.
Right.
So we have Russia, even though Russia is in war, like you said, but the position that Russia was in is actually interesting because if you know, Russia is like one of the biggest exporter of natural gas and oil.
Right.
I think their company name Gazprom. If
Gazprom,
I'm not, Gazprom. Yeah. So they are one of the biggest natural gas producer. Remember when Ukraine Russia war came out? Most of European country were using Russian natural gas. They were importing from them. And when the war came out and everyone was sanctioning, remember, the European economy, their inflation increases because only one element, which is their electricity bill.
Yeah.
Because they were relying too much on Russia, and suddenly US said, "You guys have to stop this. I don't want you guys any relationship with them."
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So when they partner with China, because China is also big exporter, they are. If you see how China developed at the moment, it's huge, man. Like,
the
it's
manufacturing
incredible. Yeah,
is crazy, man.
last time when I was in Bang, there was this industrial revolution of China. It was announced by the government where they want to revolutionize the IT industry, the manufacturing, everything. Basically, the government is supporting 100%, and they want to push it. Even with the latest like sanction, the chip sanction, where US company cannot do business with any China related, right? Google, AMD, they have to
ban off TikTok if that really give impact.
Last time was steel. During Trump, it was steel, only steel. But now Biden, he said we're gonna ban the chip manufacturing, so everything's gonna be within our members.
And also, I think the tariff for the EV cars from China also went 400%, man.
First time I heard some of my colleague was mentioning about Huawei, or I can't remember which company that was producing EV car. It was a phone company in China that was producing EV car. I can't remember which company, but there is one phone company in China that are now going into EV car business. It was crazy. If you search now, either it's Huawei or Mi. I can't remember. It's either of those two.
So why was that? China's latest EV is Xiaomi.
Xiaomi. Okay, so it's not Mi. It's close. Mi and Xiaomi. So it was Xiaomi. Yeah. Do you know about this before?
No, I never know. Never know about it.
A phone company now diving into electric vehicle in China.
Yes. Wow.
The progress of China at the moment is crazy. Even in Malaysia market, you guys can see BYD. Aura. It's also a China company, and I think Great Wall. I think Great Wall hasn't produced any electric vehicle yet. But last time I went to a car show, I think it was BYD, and the car was quite nice. To be honest with you,
you already get into car. We should have Akmal here, my friend.
Yeah, he might know a lot more about vehicles.
But yeah, there's a good thing about what I want to say about the cars itself. I mean, they're everywhere, and they're like half the price of Tesla that you will discard after 5 years of using.
They are being competitive with it. Yes.
Damn.
The US company. So with these two countries, they gang up like Russia and China because they have good relationship as well. It's gonna be very interesting with the future. Basically, even China, even with their currency, they're also manipulating it. Actually, they are devaluing their own currency so that they can pump up all their product
Yeah.
more EV in US, more EV in the
Right.
whole country. So in the future, we might see that maybe maybe in the future, like the oil price may not be quoted in USD exclusively. Maybe now they might have different. I think they have done it now. Like they're quoting in yuan, China. So it makes a huge difference in terms of like you can choose. Do you want to use USD, which is not good for your currency, or do you want a lower one, which is yuan, which is here good for you.
Good for you.
It gives you this kind of option, but
Buy more here.
buy more here
Buy
and
more
less
here,
here. But
buy two here, buy
in
one there.
in the current future, I don't think no sudden action. I mean, no sudden movement we can see because it takes time for this kind of action. Like
Right. Even we saw the BRICS effect, or like just like you said, last year or last 2 years, when we know that it's in effect, when Russia survived all those crazy sanctions, and it was like, okay, you use the Gazprom, right? So buy it, but you sanction my rubles, buy this gas with rubles.
Yeah, I mean, even if the European country and all US sanction the natural gas, they still have China, which is what the population is 1 billion. It's a huge population, and if Russia can supply it to China, all of these gases, all of this energy, they still can survive.
Do
for the
they
long
have
term.
India in the gang too?
India is very interesting because for me, India plays both way actually. Because if you see India, I mean, a lot of US company are now expanding to India. They are opening, branches, factories.
Right.
A lot in India, Nvidia, AMD, and even Google server farm is also in India as well. So, but India also have kind of like relationship with Russia. But what I know is that because India at the moment, they have a bit of traction with China because in one of their borders, they have troops stationed there. And I think, there's a bit of tension, not to the escalation of war yet, but it's like tension because their borders, India and China, is almost close to each other. So that's why.
Right.
So
I
maybe
see.
not a good on that part, yeah.
So you think Malaysia will join BRICS soon, or just stay with the game?
Malaysia has always been a exclusion country, like how what was the country name? Swiss. Switzerland, yeah.
Neutral.
It's how, in a way, Switzerland, they play both way. I won't join your war, but I will give you money. Okay, no war, give money, yes.
Save your money here.
Yes.
They're the most secure bank there.
Yes,
Yeah.
because Malaysia, our position is really, we need to be on the neutral side. We cannot because we are a very small country. 30 million population, 30 or 20 million. I'm not too up to date with
I
the
think
population.
37 or something.
Yes. So we are a country that we do not have the abilities to kind of like choose a side, whether you want the East Bloc or the West Bloc, like last time. So Malaysia wise, I think we try to have both relationship, but I think now we're gonna have more with China relationship as well. But also recently I heard that Google, if I'm not mistaken, was investing
Yeah, 2 billion.
2
here.
billion in Malaysia for server farm, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken, because
yes.
of the boom in AI. Everything's
Right.
about AI now.
And also previously Microsoft spent like 1.7 here and 1 point something billion to Indonesia as well.
What do you
So it
have?
was
We
like-
have Tesla, we have Google.
Yeah,
I don't think
Microsoft.
Amazon have. Microsoft is here. We both would be Microsoft before, so there was a Microsoft HQ in Cyberjaya, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Malaysia, we try to have both. And product from China, BYD, and what else? We have a lot of things, so we don't really care what you guys want to do. It's up to you guys. But for us, we're open market, so basically come to us. Yeah,
Right.
I think that's
I'm trying to go out of topic first. Do you know that? Have you heard about Aerodyne?
I think I've seen.
That drone company from Malaysia. That
I think I've seen it,
what the CEO name is Kamarul or something.
but
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar.
You know what?
with
They Aerodyne Malaysian and Drone Dash, drone company in Singapore, now trying to regulating ways to do logistic via drone.
Ooh.
And like the parcel must be under 30 kilogram, and you cannot go, you cannot fly drone like anywhere that you want. So both parties right now are working to what you call it with their government to find where's
To
the regulations for
to
the
have the
airport.
regulation and logistic.
They're targeting for the first delivery to be done by third quarter of this year.
I think they would have a city to be chosen, right? Maybe.
Yeah, probably around JB first, and then let's try. I mean, it's hard to send from Singapore to Puchong or something.
Maybe they are expanding to e-commerce as well. They are giving these services to e-commerce.
Yeah, they are.
Basically now, if they can do it, like you said, 30 kilogram, less than 30
Yeah,
kilogram.
less than 30 kilogram.
So basically now you can use drone to deliver same day.
Ooh.
Amazon same day. Shopee still, they have it, but for Klang Valley, I think so. But only for some certain goods. Same day delivery, that's quite, huge. If Shopee, Lazada use this kind of thing, but I'm concerned with another side of that thing as well, because
Spies.
no, not because of spies. It's like when you use this kind of drone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically now you don't need to have physical delivery using van, people to deliver to your house. So
No, probably it's like drone from Singapore warehouse to Malaysian warehouse, something like that. It's not like straight to your house, because there's something that I'm going to steal your
maybe
drone or
on the
something.
logistic. Okay, so basically it's only for the logistics.
So they discarded using ship, I don't know, or something like that.
But I think ship still have. I think what they want to test is like the delivery, because if you only think of the warehouse, like only delivering goods from warehouse A to B, and then the deliveries should be taken through van and all that, then there's actually, to be honest, no purpose with it. Or maybe they want to reduce the use of heavy lorry freight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Passport and stuff, visas and something.
Maybe because of that, yes.
Ooh. Because my line of work, because I haven't given you updated about my line of work yet. I've worked as a we do this conference, and we have this conference in Bangsa South. Or where was it again?
Really, Bangsa South?
No. On
Because it's
yes,
the place I work. So.
in the bank. No. The next Big Tech Asia that actually I'm currently handling. So my company, actually my position is conference producer, so we do conference, like, and I have another two bank tech, which is about,
Confluence producer.
yes.
Oh.
And then so that's why I'm researching all this stuff, and that's when I know when the Google invests here, so Microsoft. So actually try to see what big tech have done to the Southeast Asia, and then try to bring those people coming in and talk in our conference. So that's when I know, and this is like the topic, the topic of Aerodyne. I was like, what the hell you trying to do, man?
I think I saw Aerodyne near the Subang airport. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
Imagine living in JB and look up and see that the small fridge flying
But
over
interesting,
your.
like maybe the range, how long they can fly.
Yeah.
If they can do from Singapore, like if the drone have a capacity of like 400 or 500 kilometers, dude, that's huge, man.
How cool is that, man?
Yeah. Basically, like you said, they can fly anything from Singapore to JB, or maybe even to Klang Valley warehouse. In just, or maybe from JB to Klang Valley in a very short while.
Yeah.
Or like like you said, so the delivery between cities are now shortened, like Penang and KL. So basically, you don't need the heavy freight. You just need to use the drone and send it to Penang warehouse, and the delivery should be done through the van and stuff.
Yeah.
It's much easier. That's a game changer, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably. Wow, I think that's the first time I heard. I don't think there's the same delivery has been done from, say, Canada to America or something.
But I think Amazon have it already. Maybe to
Really?
some cities, like they do drone to your door.
Oh.
Like they deliver it to your doors, but I think it's only for certain cities in United States, not all cities. Yeah.
So it's not between two countries,
Yeah,
right?
because they're concerned with thief.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just delivered there, and also if someone to intercept in between them,
Should end up. You never know. It's American after all. So
But
yeah. Back to finance.
we go into IT a little bit. Even though I'm not IT expert, I
You are.
just know a little bit.
You are. You know a little bit. You know a little bit.
I
about
know a little
the,
bit.
The component of computer and some stuff. The Nvidia, the stories about AMD
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff.
because I need to follow, because I also still I need to know the up to dates, like what are Nvidia latest offering, or maybe
Dude, you're
AMD.
everywhere. You still playing games?
Yeah, I'm still.
Come on,
I'm
man.
still. I'm maybe because work is stress, so you need something else to do. But gaming is still something that I have to do. But yeah, I still do. Yeah.
Haven't played that long time. So you said you're stressed and because I know that your line of work is really need that mental cardio, right? So you really involved in when you said that. Okay, let's start first. Are you involved in trading or what?
It's
What are you
not
doing actually?
exclusively, meaning that I do not do it directly,
Mhm.
but I need to have those knowledge to be able to do my works. I need to have some of it, but I would say I learn it on my free time because I discovered it to be very interesting, and it's something I can go into more deep. But yeah, basically I've my line of work required for me to have some of knowledge of it, but not exclusively. No.
So what are you doing exactly? Like trying
I-
to see a pattern in trading
No,
or
actually,
something?
no. My line of work doesn't directly go into trading. To be honest with you, it's more of finding partners and affiliates.
Uh-huh.
So it's more of like expanding B2B. Remember last time when we were in our previous company, where we have to do campaigns for partners. I mean, not partners like Microsoft, Dell, and all that. So basically, now my responsibility is to find these partners. So my job is as business development, where I have to find these partners and make business with them. If you understand. So, but
So
my
you,
industry is trading. I do not do direct, but I learn it through my free time because for everyone it's a very interesting because the journey of it for you to understand this knowledge is about discovering one, the knowledge of economy like we are discussing today, and second is about self-discovery. And I've learned more about myself because through this trading itself.
how do you know about How do you know about yourself?
How do I know about myself?
Yeah.
So basically, maybe this is most of us in Malaysia doesn't like the word of date, like the trading itself, because people associate it with something very bad,
Scam,
scam,
Octa FX.
like Okta FX, and also one of the most that people associate is with gambling itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way you see how they do it, it's more likely to that. But why do I say more to self-discovery? Because during this, I'm learning this knowledge. I've learned to know more about myself because to be successful in this, you need to know more about yourself than actually the market or the economy, I would say. To
Because
do
you need
this
to keep
trading.
up to date, right? So
One is-
which industries are doing good?
That's
industries
one.
doing bad?
But why I say self-discovery, that's where it's very interesting because I've learned that the way we think and the way we think and the way we believe is the actual portrayal of what we see in this world.
I couldn't relate to that though.
No, what I mean is that if you the example that I read from one of the books, which what's the title of the book? I can't remember the title of the book. It was by Mark Douglas. If those people outside knows about this author, Mark Douglas.
Douglas.
Yeah. So one of the example he gave in his book is that imagine a boy seeing a dog. So a boy has no experience at all. I'm sorry if I use dog example because it's direct from the book, the example. So imagine a boy who doesn't know a dog and he see for the first time a dog in his face. Now, the things that he mentioned is that the first experience you have, because you never know what is a dog. So a dog can have two kind of behavior. One is playful and another one is aggressive.
Right.
Okay, so when you first time meeting the dog, the first experience will determine how you believe what the dog's gonna be for the future. Example, when you first approach the dog, if the dog is playful, means that your experience in the future, whenever you see another dog in the future, it's gonna
Right,
always
right.
be painful.
Right.
And if it's aggressive, then whatever you see in the future, any kind of dog is going to be aggressive.
True.
So, I mean, those are. I mean, if you search the guy, the author name Mark Douglas. So basically, anything about this industry is about self discovery. When you understand yourself, then you can be successful in that sense.
Right. So you're not involved directly, but have you ever talked to your colleague that who's involved directly and try ask them to like teach you a thing or two? you know?
Actually, I don't. One of the thing is that I don't trust people easily. So anything, if especially in finance,
Oh yeah.
that's one of the reason as well, because I joined the banking industry, because I don't trust people to give advice about financial, like how to take credit, how to do your loan. I like to learn it myself. Yes,
That's a good defense mechanism, right?
correct.
Right.
Whenever if someone come to you, hey, invest in this A performance or A fund, I say no, bullshit. This fund is not good. You didn't say this. You know, I like to do that.
Yeah.
But I learned it myself. Like I said, through YouTube. To be honest, YouTube, you can learn within just a few hours to understand about the technical of trading itself. But the most that I learned is through books. Where I mentioned just now is about self-discovery. I learned to know how I think myself, how I see the world, and how I behave with other people. It's a reflection of myself, and also how I'm gonna do in the trading itself.
Right. So previously when you said that investment and trading are different things,
It's different, yes.
right? So what are the difference? And if someone that is not familiar with trading, I mean they've heard the word investment before and they know like the fundamental aspect of the investment. So if you could give like explanation or example in the terms that a beginners could understand, what's like the difference between the two of them?
The simplest that I can give is in the context of Malaysia, is basically how we have our, if you are fully employed, so you basically have your KWSP. Okay. So every year you're going to receive a certain amount of percentage. Let's say last year was what, 5% or something, I can't remember. So those are investment. Basically, you put in your money. Maybe you put $1,000 today or $1,000 per month. So basically, that's investing. You don't care about how the industry works. You only go. Let's say you go to bank. Maybe you put your money into retirement, and you're thinking of like maybe 20 or 50 years in the future once you retire. So that is investment. So basically, you find one good things, and you put your money and you leave it for how long, God knows, maybe 10 years or 15 years in the future. But for trading, it's a little bit tricky because every day you need to be, I can say this, you need to be so disciplined to look at the market, to read up the news every single day. Even this week, I have also have to aware of what are the news that the US gonna announce. So it's gonna be NFP, non-farm payroll, which is a big impact news. Even United States inflation news, I need to make sure that I'm aware of. And trading is done maybe within few minutes, few hours, or maybe few days. That's the only differences. And yeah, basically that's it.
I couldn't get it the first time, but I got it. But
So it's mostly different in the time frame, in the longevity of the time itself.
so it's trading forex is included in trading, right?
It can be, actually, the term trading is actually general. It can be you are trading stock. One of the term you can use as well, because some of my friend, they also trading or investing. Sometimes they use trading and investing interchangeably, but they trade Malaysia stock, like maybe Malaysia Airline or Asia. So that can be called as trading as well. So basically, you buy and sell in a short time frame. So it can be in stock. It can be in crypto. Crypto is also investing. If you use Luno, if you put your money in.
No, I haven't heard.
No, I mean, you never heard of Luno?
Nope. It's crypto, right?
Yes,
It's indicator. So I don't have any
Luno is
interest.
Luno is the currently the only regulated crypto exchange in Malaysia. So you can buy and sell cryptocurrency using Luno. So you have Luno, which is for crypto, and then you can do indices. Indices is it depends. Some people like it, some people don't. And for me, I do forex and gold. So even though in my line of work I don't directly involved in this, but in my own time I have to do it because I like it. That's the only reason.
Here comes the question that will put your neck on the guillotine. Is forex permissible in Islam?
Yeah, that's we going back to the one that I mentioned just now about the currency itself. When I say currency itself, last time when we tied it, when we have the value of it to gold, basically you cannot print to whatever the value of gold itself. Let's say you have 20,000 kilogram of gold, right, and the value of that 20,000 kilogram of gold, it's, let's just put it 1 trillion. So you cannot have more money in the economy, more than 1 trillion. But now, when currency are no longer tied to gold, basically the government can print how much ever money they want in the economy. Right. So your currency or the currency itself is no longer, it's I would say I'm not a Sharia expert, no, but in my eyes, the currency itself become a commodities. So it's something that you exchange. Right. Example that I can say, the USD and ringgit value is different between you, a Malaysian, and someone from the United States. Right. They value their dollar more than they value your ringgit. So the value is different. So when you exchange it, you have the supply and demand, which makes the quoted currency. Let's say now it's $1 is 4.73. So because of the supply and demand, that's where you have the quoted amount. So it's based on how much you want and how much would the next person give. So it's a buy and sell. That's why it's a bit technical in terms of this, because this is more from my perspective. I'm not a Sharia expert, no, but in terms of the currency itself, it becoming a commodity because it's no longer tied to gold, and any government can print how many amount money they want. So just now, I want to explain a little bit about the printing of money. Right. Remember when COVID came? Yeah. 2020. Right. So what happened during that time is like everyone lose their job. No one has job. Business shut down. Business slowing down. So what did the US did? They lowered the interest rate to allow business and any individual to borrow money. Okay, don't use US example because it's far from us. Now, for Malaysia, I believe we lowered our interest rate to 2% or 1% something. At the time, during COVID, one of my cousin, they take a loan for car and they get the lowest interest rate ever. So basically they are paying... Much? I think he was taking a car loan of 2%, 2.5 something. You know how much I take at the moment? For me, it's 6 point something, because it's a no way. It's a floating rate. My interest rate is floating.
Why?
So it's about 6%.
Mine is fixed as 5. Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe when you take it, you are taking earlier than me. So that time
2021.
2021.
21, 22?
21, 22. Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So 21 and 22, Malaysia interest rate are still low. So it's about, I think, 2.5 something. So that's why you get this lower interest rate. And when I take my loan, it was about almost 2.75 to 3%. The bank need to mark up the interest rate a little bit, for you to pay the loan. So mine is a little bit higher. So
6%.
Yes. So it's mind-blowing.
New car?
Excuse me?
A new car?
It's
new car or a used car?
It's semi-new, I would say, because when I got the car, it was 86.
Oh yeah, the one that
it's the one I mentioned the story. I like the story, man. Everyone was crazy when I say it's a second hand, but when they say this is new,
at the same time it's not, but it's new.
Yes,
6%.
Correct. Damn. So during COVID, when the government lowered the interest rate, anyone can borrow money with a cheap amount of interest you need to pay. Yeah. So that time, money was flowing to the economy. That's how the term printing money works. So bank can give up loan. Hey, you want loan? Here, take this. Hey, you want loan? Here. Hey, you want to expand your business? Here. And that time, you after the COVID, like maybe 2020 end of the year, people were getting good job, good raise. The job market was expanding a little bit. People were getting back the job because of businesses having this money to expand their business. So that's why, and that time where the currency of the United States dropped because they lowered the interest rate, and now they increase it back, and that's where you see that Japanese yen with US, Malaysia ringgit with USD is also devalued a lot because US are hiking the interest rate last year, and this year they didn't hike the interest rate. So that's the interest part about currency. So it depends on the interest rate, and between the supply and demand. So that's why currency itself is a commodity.
Yeah, I know that you know, I saw you just smile just now, and you have this passion to talk about this. But let's look a little bit like this. I don't want to be negative here, but there's a lot of people that I know that have what you call it, trouble on getting it, because the banks made profit from interest themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is no way. I mean, that my belief, even though it's not as it is not backed up by numbers and statistics, that all fiat money, which is the currency that we use right now, will always, if not the next 50 years, it will be 100 years, will always return to zero. All the fiat money. I mean, that's my belief, right? I hold you right there. And then we will go all back to gold. Look at all the recession, look at all the, what you call it, financial crisis, all the, all the rich guy, all reverse back to money. Don't you think that, I'm not saying morally, in moral point of view, don't you think that making money out of interest is not good? I mean, as of now, yes, okay, borrow this,
Yes.
take loan,
Correct.
take interest and stuff,
Correct.
and then the one we're now
Yes.
paying for our debts loans,
Yes.
and as of now, if you want to, like take loans and stuff, it will not affect you. You're going to save your ass, you know what I mean? But your grandkid will buy a gardenia bread for like
Yes.
7 ringgit a
Yes.
slice. You know what I'm saying? It will happen. So where do you stand on this? Do you think that the current market, whether it's domestically or international, run, morally right? We could talk about this in an Islamic perspective point of view, but in moral, what do you think it is?
I absolutely agree with you. Morally, the system that we are living in is immoral. Previously, I think if you guys have seen where they say maybe in the 90s, where a single wage and a single employment can give you a house, a car, and also for you to start a family. So those are the things that they made comparison previously. So basically, with a single wage, you can have all those. But now, even with a single wage in Malaysia, in KL alone, for you to struggle to pay your rent and even to start a family, unless you are staying somewhere out of KL, basically. So I'm totally agree with you. It's morally wrong for this system, but it's the capitalist, as I mentioned just now. It's our capitalist system that we are living. Malaysia is not exclusion to it. Even China is not excluded, even though they are technically a communist country, but they are free in some way. But they are also a victim to this economy as well, because with this capitalist system, it helps for business to grow. That's the initial objective of this capitalist system, and interest rate. So basically, it gives bank the ability to give money from, just I mentioned just now, from dumb money, who has this pool of fund. Dumb money means like from doctors, example. Doctors have, let's say you are a specialist doctor, and you have a salary of what, 20,000, 40,000 because of specialists, maybe heart surgeon specialist, and you have 40,000 per month in your salary, and you don't know where you're going to put this money. So you give it to bank, and bank use the money that you put in the saving account to give it to someone who needs the money, business owner, entrepreneurs who want to open business, maybe to yourself as well, for you to do, your videos, to buy your equipment, so you borrow money. So that's why the system previously works. It works well. But the longer it ages, it's getting out of control because, like I said, government can print whatever amount of money they want. And if inflation out of control, like what happened in the United States, price of goods increases. And it doesn't only affect United States, it affects Malaysia.
True.
Do you remember last time when you want to buy an iPhone, maybe the price was about, I don't know, 1,000 ringgit?
Yeah.
Maybe 3,000. I remember last time I buy my iPhone, it was an iPhone 6, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 2,000 or 3,000.
Even
Now,
then was like mind blowing, like 3,000.
it was mind blowing at that time. But now when we see the price of iPhone, let's say iPhone 15 Pro Max, the price is about what, 7,000 or 6,000. It's almost a price of full EX5. You can buy EX5 cash with it, to be honest. So
I wouldn't expect that.
it's because of what? It's because of the inflation.
Yeah.
The system we're living in. And that's where the word, if you heard of it, where they say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yeah.
Because every year, inflation increases. And if your income does not increase alongside with inflation, let's say the inflation rate is like, for Malaysia, they announced it was 1.7 or 1 point something. It's below 2%. So if your wages doesn't increase more than, let's say, 2% per year, then your buying power will going to be lessened every single year.
Yeah, purchasing power, yeah.
Purchasing power.
Right.
But those 2% that they mentioned to you is just on the surface. The actual price of good increases are different. Like phone prices increase differently. The price you buy for food is different.
Right.
Last time I buy nasi kukus was about what? I remember last time it was about 4 ringgit or 5 ringgit. Now, even if you go to a stall outside, they may sell it for what, 7 or 8 ringgit. The same thing, but now increase not just twice the price, it's more than 200% of the price.
And the size gets smaller.
The size gets smaller. See, it's a problem that we are living and we cannot escape it. So, I mean, one of the advice from some of my friends saying, you should not earn in your currency. You should earn in other currency. And that's where I get my passion for this trading, because you earn in USD. And if you convert it, it's like four times. Dude, 4 times. I'm not condoning everyone. It's a risky business now. But that's where we can see a lot of Malaysian are going to United States, UK, and even Singapore.
Yes.
To find a job, because Singapore, even with Singapore, is 3.5. Dude, it's 3 times your currency. If you came back to Malaysia, you are filthy rich.
Rich bastard.
Yeah. They paying you. They say now in Malaysia, the minimum salary for fresh grad is 3.5. They say, if 3.5 SGD, how much you get 3 times? It's $9,000, 9,000 ringgit. Sorry. So it's 9,000 ringgit, and that's.
But do you think there will be time where you need to do something about the inflation, because you cannot have like pay. There must be a limit somewhere, right?
You mean the inflation rates?
Yeah.
That's where.
No, I mean like even like, let's say you buy a slice of gardenia bread for like freaking 10 ringgit. Okay, that's when you know you're messed up. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's a wake up call for like?
I mean, yeah, that's what basically happened in the United States. So to control inflation, there's only one tools that most government likes it: interest rate.
We go back to the circle, man.
The same problem that creates
The problem?
the problem is the same one that will be used to solve the problem.
Bullshit.
There is no other way out of this unless, like he said, you go back to everyone having a goal, like gold nickel. Here, 1 gardenia bread, 1 gold.
Or silver.
Yes. Or silver, example.
I think that's the best strat. I mean, I'm not that good in finance, but I think like gold and silver was like the ultimate, the ultimate measurement of what I call it, currency or money. Because
yeah.
But even then, like if you scroll back to like 5,000 years into his history, I think it was the Greek civilization or something. When they have this mass of gold, right? And then they want to have a war with, I think, with the Rome or something. I forgot. And then you need to pay your troops. And
Yeah.
then pay
Yeah.
pay using gold and
Yes.
silver, and then it's not enough because they need the physical
Correct.
gold, and then they send it outside, and then
Yes.
the one that they have as on the reserve was like diminishing day by day, and then you know what they did? They melted the gold,
Yeah.
put over bronze,
No.
mix
Yes, I
it,
heard this. Yes.
and then
I was
print it
about
out.
to say the
So
same.
one gold coin,
It has a
can now
mix of bronze,
mix of
silver,
bronze, and then
yes,
you can like
to make-
10 bronze shilling
Correct.
that equals to one. That's the first inflation.
That's the
first
correct,
inflation
yes.
in human history.
Yes,
Recorded
the first ever
inflation.
recorded, correct.
And then even that's where I think the fiat money comes to play. It was
I
like
think-
we're going to use the same.
I think
strand,
your videos and my video are the same on YouTube.
but it's actually true. I mean,
Yes.
like Tom, Dick, and Harry wouldn't know about this. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like I think like when you know when you have a house and then you cannot pay for it, and then you like rent it somewhere, and then
Yes.
you mark up it higher, right? And then it will give you some effects because everybody now doing it.
Yes.
Now you feel like you're, because you know when you make a loan, you contribute to the interest, and it will affect. I mean, you want to go against the establishment.
but
You
no.
want to go, you cannot go, but that's actually like the right thing to do is to stop using it. But you know, like even if you stop, no one will follow you. Number one. Number two, you're left out because you know when you are 60, 70 years old, you got no house, or your friends got your house, and when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not in debt, they'll be in debt, and then you want to bring religion in, and there's a lot of things to talk about, and then now you think about whether I do the right thing, which is actually will torture me and my kid, or where I do the wrong thing, but I'll get. I mean, I'm not saying easier life, but I mean everybody's doing it. You know.
I mean, it's interesting. It's like, you know, this new. I mean, like what you say is like why we cannot escape. Basically, this system, especially for our generation now, is because of the reason we are. They call it consumerism. Yes, we are in the age of consumerism, where basically everything you want to consume, from your phone. Like you said, you want
I don't
cars.
consume my phone.
No, I mean consume.
I know.
Yeah, in the sense that basically means that you are always wanting to get the latest stuff. You know,
I mean,
to
not
impress.
me, but yeah, I understand.
No,
your point.
I mean the current culture that we have at the moment
Right,
now.
right.
You want to have the latest gadget, the latest car, and the thing that can impress your friend maybe, or maybe on your social media. Social media plays a big role on this. So basically, because people are keep demanding for this new stuff. So what are company gonna do? They're basically gonna do the same thing. Basically, they're gonna every year new revision, iPhone 15, iPhone 16, or maybe car 1, car 2. I don't know. I don't know car names.
One,
If
four,
if
five. Yes,
Akmal was here, he might gonna know. But every year you're gonna have new revision of the same stuff, more expensive than it was previously.
Yeah.
Why? Because it is the latest thing. You want this latest thing on your phone, on your hand. You don't want to miss the FOMO.
FIFA 20, FIFA 21.
Dude,
Same game.
That kind of game, I hate it, and that's why I stopped
Same
playing
game.
any
Same
football
bullshit.
game because of the
Yeah.
same shit, and sometimes even downgrade some few features. I was like, what the hell is this? Because our consumer are so focused on getting the new thing.
Yeah, that's where the dumb money comes from. So I don't care if it's the same thing.
Correct.
It's FIFA 22.
Yes.
So yes, screw it.
Because they don't want. I'm not saying they don't want you to become how we say disciplined or habitual spenders, but when you have this kind of impulse, even myself, I also have this kind as well. But when you have this kind of impulse, that's where it feeds on that. The company feeds on these kind of things. So the more you consume, the more they can pump out the price. The higher the price gonna be every years. Maybe not because of inflation, because of the demand. When you have more demand than supply, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, true.
Price increase.
Yeah, true.
Simple as that. But no, we cannot escape it unless you, like you said.
Reset the whole world.
Yeah, you cannot. Basically, I would say for you, and also for everyone, the one who uses the system on a smart way are the one who gonna become richer in this sense. Because what I learned from bank itself, from the client that I have, from the customer that I met, most of them are taking all this loan. You know, they are doing investment using loan sometimes. They're buying stuff using loan, even though they have hundreds of thousands in their account, maybe millions in their account, in the saving account, but they're still using the system. Why? Because it gives them, I wouldn't say profit, but there's a
Tax
smart way for
exemption,
you.
I think,
Yes, correct. There's a smart way for you to play around this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even now, if you're learning about taxes, I just recently know about taxes. Basically, once you reach a certain tax bracket, you're gonna be taxed, right? Your income tax, and you have tax exemption, and that's why rich people plays around this system. Even though they are being taxed for the income, they are doing something else like buying cars.
Yes,
or
they call
opening-
it good debt, right?
Correct. So they are taking all this debt to make sure that they can be reimbursed back the money that they're paying through the government. So that's how they are playing around the system, and that's why the richest people are paying less tax because of this. And not the small.
No. That's why you can't tax the rich, because they know how to play around. And you can sit there. I mean, I could sit here and say that this is injustice or something. I mean, we could all be questioned. I mean, if you want to go that way, but I don't know. Yes, what do you think are like people that doesn't want to go that route and just want to survive? Do you think like investing? I mean, no. You think like buying? I mean, I'm looking forward to buying a gold. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the right. I mean, like physical gold. I don't really want to go for the digital gold or some stuff that they
Actually, to be honest with you, you should buy gold at the moment. Maybe buy now. Yeah, to be honest, maybe buy gold. This is not financial advice. No, please no, please don't quote me on this. No,
Gold.
please don't quote me on this. I
will.
do trade gold myself, but on a risky bet. But why the reason I mentioned why you should buy gold is because, as I mentioned just now, like you also mentioned to me, like the currency is like, if you can play around with those things, basically you can devalue or increase your value just by interest rate. Because gold, you cannot manipulate it.
Yeah.
Once the supply run out, basically the price of gold gonna increase, and we are not seeing more golds in the world. But we are not seeing more gold
unless you find a new new mining
a certain mining, and then
mining
it
spot.
pump out in like a water, and then everything is like gold. Unless that's happened, but no, that's why investing in gold is for the long term. That's why I say investing in gold, not trading in gold, but investing in it. It's actually good. And like you said, if you want to escape it, you can. Basically, you buy everything on cash. You can.
Why though? Why not just digital currency? Why you need cash?
I mean, like you say, if you want to escape the system, basically you don't want to contribute to the same problem, which is taking loan and all this. So buy everything on cash.
Oh, I thought like buying, even though some mundane thing that you pay in cash, not via debit card or something.
Oh, you mean even the debit card?
Yeah, because you know Harit, right? He always keep cash. He always pay with cash, even though like 6, 7 ringgit. I thought what Harit try to escape the matrix. He doesn't want the bank to track him as spending.
That's for me is the most extreme that you can take. But I understand your point.
I'm not sure if he had some effect or he just trying to fool himself or something. But Harit is a weird guy,
Because for me, I'm the opposite of what Harit does. I'm almost, I can say, completely digitalized. I may have some money in my pocket, but in case if someone want to rob me, I just can give him my wallet and I call the bank. Hello, please cancel my card. Because that's
you
easiest.
bail yourself out of 50 ringgit or something.
But to be honest, I was in few trouble because I don't have cash. So
you need to actually have like 50 ringgit or 100 ringgit. Let's say you got punctured your tire in the middle of nowhere.
But to be honest, even if you have paper cash, it's just fiat money, so it doesn't bring you value. Actually, you're keeping it and you're having it in your pocket. It doesn't bring you any value, to be honest. That's why.
Yeah, I know. But just the readiness in extreme time, just.
But to escape the system in that way, I don't see it's going anywhere. But if I were to say escaping the system in terms of like not taking loan and stuff, actually in Islam we mentioned that if on an extreme circumstance that you need to take this, then you have. Example, if you don't have house and you don't have places to live, then you have to take loan. But the culture we have here in Malaysia is that We buy a house because we need to buy it. Because maybe our family said you need to have a house by correct. You need to have a car to show you are successful. But do you need cars? Maybe. If you need car for work, then yes, it's a necessity.
Yeah, I don't really need it now, but I used to. So that's why I just park my car and use my MRT every single day. And just drive it like once or twice a week.
In Islam, it's based on necessity. We don't go into that more in detail. But if you want to escape it, you need to buy them in cash. But I would say something is that if you do this, you don't play the system very smart, and you not say left out. It's just that you're not utilizing your money in the best possible way. If you buy today, if you buy today an iPhone with a price of 6,000, instead of like taking a loan or paying in an installment basis without interest, they have a lot of this nowadays. So when you pay that 6,000, those are opportunity costs for you. So basically your 6,000 is gone. You cannot do anything with it. But if you pay your phone in installment, let's say every month for let's say 3 years, you pay them 300. So from the 6,000 that you have at the moment in cash, so you just need to reserve 300 every month, and the remaining, let's say 5,700, you can put somewhere else. You can invest it. You can put in gold, example. And when you earn the profit in gold, you can put it into paying this as well, or maybe do something else. That's why I say, if you try to escape it, you're not using your money in the smartest way. But if you actually play with the system, that's the system,
right?
You can have both way.
Well, yeah, if that's only works if your installment doesn't have interest, which is really hard to find nowadays.
But to be honest, most that I can see the trend nowadays, and it's also a dangerous trend that I'm seeing, is the buy now pay later trend.
Yeah,
those are because of our economy as well. So the buy now pay later society and also business is booming because most of our generation, they want to enjoy it now. They want to have the early gratitude instead of delayed gratification. So they want it now instead of later. So we have this. You can have this installment like without interest, but it's gonna be a problem in case you lost your job. You don't have any extra income. Yeah, that's where the problem comes in.
Right. So I think we need to get back into the interest. We have like it's cool. It's like 20 minutes left. So that's good old. It's not like good old, but it was a debate, and it will be still a debate. Rent or buy a house?
Ooh. Dude, this topic, I actually did a paper when I was first year. No, but it's not an official paper. It's basically just a first year project, so it's not that details. It was a project that I did during my uni, and this was given by my professor itself. They want me to do research about renting and buying a house. If you guys listen to what I mentioned, the way I speak is that I'm more leaning towards renting instead of buying.
Really?
But it has good and bad in a certain way. So why do I say so? So the normal culture that we can see in European country, they don't buy house, most of them, usually. The reason is why. One is because their housing price is very expensive. If you want to buy a house in, let's say, Paris, I don't know how much is it, but it's gonna be hell of expensive. That's why they don't buy house. And also because most European people usually either stay by themselves or maybe by girlfriend, so they don't really have this kind of like family relationship. But our culture is a little bit different, where we buy houses because in case like maybe your mother's and father retirement, then you may have a place for them to stay. So for us, it's a little bit about culture. That's why we buy houses a lot, and it's actually driving through an economic problem, to be honest with you. But for me, I'm leaning toward renting to some extent. What I mean is that the norm that we have is that our parents, or we have this social pressure where everyone say you need to buy a house. Even for myself as well, from my closest relatives and friends, they're always saying you need to buy a house. I think you experience the same thing. Yeah, you need to buy a house by this age and this age. You need to have this and this. You know, you were imposed with certain kind of like goals that you need to achieve based on someone else's goal. You know, you need to have a house at, let's say, 30s or 35. It's good. Let's say now you are working, so it's good that you don't buy a house immediately with a meager of, like, let's say your minimum wage of 3.5 as a fresh grad, and then you suddenly buy a house. That's crazy, man. You cannot afford to buy a house with that wage.
Yeah.
And the way our culture is, like, we're always driven to buy a house. So, but you need to buy it when you were able to afford it, not because someone said that you need to buy it.
How do you define you are able to afford it? I mean, you need to have like certain, let's say, probably a number, like 20% of the house price, or 30%.
There was this calculation, like 20% of your income is to be on your monthly car installment, and then what, 40%, or I can't remember. There was this ratio, 20, 40, 50. There was this one book that was mentioning about this. I cannot say from my side how much is it, because I'm not really too much into technical about how much you need to divert your money into this saving. But when you can say that you can buy a house is that when you feel it's necessity for you to have it, like, you know, that when you buy that house, you're gonna make sure that it's gonna be, you know, a place that you're gonna stay and you're gonna utilize it, not to buy it and rent it. That's a different one. As you see, you mentioned to me the culture now. You buying it to rent it. Why?
Make a little bit upgrade that is useless, and then you pump out 100 to 100.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what happening to our real estate at the moment.
Yeah, that's what
they are
do.
buying it, but to rent it.
Yeah.
And the people who actually wants to buy it, you know, for their housing purpose, they weren't able to have it at the, you know, the market price, because the company that are buying this are inflating the price, because now the company are buying, and the number of unit is limited, and we get this artificial supply and demand, where you're thinking, oh, the developer are thinking, dude, there's a lot of people are demanding for house, let's build more, let's increase the price. But it's not actually from the people, it's actually from the company who's renting it.
Yeah.
And the rent is not cheap at the moment now. The room are getting smaller and rent are getting more expensive because of this behavior we are moving towards. And my concern is that I hope it doesn't, but I don't see that Malaysia gonna have any house bubble crisis like United States. Hopefully not, because the way we give loans is a bit strict, to be honest. But I'm hoping that I'm wrong on this. You know, housing bubble is very dangerous. If it happens, people who have taken loans, you know, maybe your aunties or someone who are at 40 and 50 are paying their 50 years loan, and in their 20 paying terms, and suddenly this kind of things happen, it's going to be bad for them, to be honest.
Yeah. When you say about that, I mean, there's probably a counter argument on whether, because you're leaning on renting, and people say buy a house even though you pay like around, let's say, 1,400 or 1,300 per month. Actually, you buy things that it will be yours. And for you, if you're renting until you are like 40, 50 years old, and then let's say you retire at 55, and then you need your KWSP money to, you know, just survive, and then you use that money to buy a house, and then what's left, you know, this.
Yeah, I mean, this argument is like very clear. To be honest, I was also going towards that approach as well. Like, that's why I said you can buy a house when you can afford it, because most of the youngsters or most of us, we buy a house when we are unable to afford it. Even though the loan have been approved to you, you think that you can afford it, and suddenly you cannot pay it. So where does who gonna pay the loan for you? Your parents, your father and mother? Of course no. And you're putting a burden to your family as well. So that's why I said this kind of thing is when you think it's necessity, is when you think that you are capable of having this kind of thing. Because like you said, when you're retired, you want to have a place where you can stay. It's yours. You own it. But you have to do it smart. You don't do it because someone said, or, you know, because you think, okay, I like this kind of house. I want studio, example. I want a studio house, and I want it in Cyberjaya, for example. Maybe, you know, don't buy it because of pressure, but buy it when you have made the thought for buying it for your purpose of like for your old age retirement. And also be smart, because bank doesn't really give you all the information for you to take this kind of loan. They want for you to utilize it the best that they can get the profit from you.
Yeah.
Yes, make your research. I would advise, yes, you can take advices from influencer online, yes and no, but do your own research because sometimes they may have conflict of interest, some of the influencer. No, I'm not saying to anyone, no, it's not to anyone, but do your own research is much more better. What are the loan, what are the tenure, how much you need to pay, whether it's floating rate or fixed rate. That's why this knowledge is very important for you to know before you can buy a house. Yeah.
Right. Just miss the day when our great grandfathers could buy a bungalow for 7 raspberry and a goat. You know.
That's why I'm saying that in the 90s, like you can live with, you can have a house, you can have a car, you can have a family.
From a single
all
paycheck.
Yes, with a single paycheck. But now you can't even. You can't.
So I just want to put yourself in the dire situation again. Do you think the government are doing a good job on keeping our economy on track? Because when we are like 4 ringgit and there's rumors that we're going to 5 ringgits per dollar, we are going riot, and and the opposition having a field day, and now the inflation has turned down again. It was like they're getting quiet. I mean, there's a lot of going back and forth. Like, do you think that we are doing a good job, or
actually our inflation is doing very good. It's below the rates that we want, which is below than 2%, which is good. That's what the economists want to target and the government want it to target. But to say that whether I trust the government for our economy to go to the right direction, it's not that I'm against government on this. It's just that I'm always critical about what a government action. I never have any single, I would say, this one is good, this one is bad. I don't have any single, because I always very critical of what the government does most of the time. It's not because I didn't trust them, no. Because if you don't be critical with them, there is no room for improvement. If you're always praising, right. If you're always praising, they're doing good. It's always they won't be improving. But we are moving through the right direction. Basically, like what I said, like we are doing a lot of partnership with China, a lot of company from China, as well as a relationship with US. We have a good relationship with them, and we're bringing more high skill sectors, like the opening of the Google server farm for the AI. So it's going to bring more kind of like, I would say, high skill labor, maybe programmers. Dude, before I graduated, the job for IT, like programming and IT development, is not that huge. But then once I started graduate in 2021, 2022, this kind of job exploded. And Malaysia is not excluded from this. We are also experiencing this. We are seeing more programmers, more into IT industry. So it's a good thing. But, I would say don't trust 100% whatever the government says. It's for us to be open-minded about things, We don't have any kind of like fanatics to a certain government or anything. But what they are doing is good. And the business that they are driving is good as well. But there's a reason why, because the economy around is also doing semi-good, and that's where we can see a lot of investment coming in. Not because the government are doing a good job, it's because the other company from another country are thinking of a business opportunity, not because of the government. It's just they're thinking in business perspective.
Yeah, but don't you think that it's actually... It makes sense, because remember when we lost track of our prime minister, because 7, 8, 9 like kind of switched so fast, and was like the investor was like, oh, hold up, I'm not going to invest in Malaysia until they settle on one. Boom, we settle on the 10. It was like, all right, this is time to come in. I think that's
economy plays politics plays a role in terms of like the investor confidence, and just that. The investor confidence relies on, because when you keep changing government, the policy is going to keep changing. So
True.
they are not going to be confident. Like whatever you're going to say today is going to be whatever you're going to say tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yes, I think if the government staying at the current path, like everything is stabilized, like everyone understand what they need to do for the country for sake for the future, I think we are on the right path, and we need to, I would say, to do more in depth into the high chain value sectors. What I mean by is that we have tons of factory from AMD and Nvidia and also Sony in Penang, and also some in Selangor and KL. And this company are producing semi-professional labor. What we want is to go to a higher level change, because at the moment Malaysia is still attractive because we have skilled labor and we also have cheap labor, cheap wages. To be honest, if you are a US company and you want to open a company in Malaysia, you have to pay so little because of the currency exchange difference.
Yeah.
That's the advantages and why they are interested in Malaysia. Because if we go to $5, ringgit, imagine, you guys imagine the money that they have to spend to open a company in Malaysia.
Right. So I think we have like a couple of minutes before we wrap up here. I just one last topics. Minimum wage. You think that it should stay as it is, or it should be increased, and why do you think so?
I think at the moment our minimum wage was what, 1,500.
Yeah, 500. Yeah.
But 1,500 to the most like not it's like the lower skilled labor, I would say, the 1,500. To be honest with you, with the general industry practice, what I can see is that most graduate, not all, maybe I have wrong information. I don't know about the statistics about this at all. But most what I can see is like the fresh graduate salary can start at 3,000, sometimes 2,800. Some are lower, I understand it. But 3,000 is a good spot, but it's not enough, to be honest. And also, the skill that I see from our fresh graduate is still somewhat lacking. Maybe the candidate that I've seen are lacking on this, but we are there. It's just that to increase it to a much higher, what we are thinking, maybe 4,000, is a bit too fast and too much for companies to do that. With the current situation, with uncertainty in US and also China, Japan is also not doing well with the Russia sanction. There's a lot of uncertainty for company to do this kind of movement. Because what I can say is that we need our graduate to be much more high quality in this sense. I'm not speaking. I'm still fairly new in the job industry. My working experience is like what, 2 to 3 years. But at the moment, I'm doing interview for my companies. I'm interviewing candidates to join my company as my teams. But for the most that I can see is like they are lacking some skills that it should be common, but because they were not being taught during the university years, what makes them less, I would say, less, not credible, less
Experience.
not less experienced. They are
practical.
not less attractive or less eligible for the position because of they lack certain skill.
Like I want to pay 4,000 for this.
Yeah,
Better I do it
like-
myself.
Basically, correct. Like even for me, I started with less than what's the standard that I should receive.
More
But
start at 1,200.
yeah, but because we value the experience, and there's a reason why we value experience. Because experience teach you things that you do not regularly receive in university years. So that's why it's important.
Right.
But to increase the wages for now, it's a little bit too difficult. Maybe if we have something radical, or maybe we have more high skill labor industry, then maybe yes.
Yeah, I think that's true too, because like I said, like Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, like the regular guys that doesn't know how the regulation work. I mean, the problem that we have now is actually about our purchasing power, because 1,500 now is different from 1,500 back
Right.
in 1996. So that's purchasing power. And also when people say that pushing the minimum wage higher, it's actually hurt the SMEs and small businesses. Let's say let's pick one job. Let's say like IT engineer. How much is it going to be today?
I think IT engineer is like what 3,500.
3,500, right?
Maybe four,
Let's say also
yeah.
if the minimum wage up to 2,000 and then they want to have some gap from 3,500 to 2,000, let's say the IT engineer was like what 4,000,
Yeah.
and then SMEs and small businesses want to hire for IT engineer, they couldn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't give like 4,000 per
couldn't,
month.
yes.
Only the big guys could.
Yeah.
Let's say if let's say as a cashier, right? Probably it's different from business, but let's just put it as an analogy. Let's say big boss like Maidin. Okay, let's say the government announced that okay, let's say the minimum wages for cashiers like 2,000 per month. Maidin will be smiling, 2,000 easy. What about Cheng? Let's say if they need to follow like the government regulation, I can't afford you 2,000 ma, like
True.
2,200,
Yes.
okay, yeah, you know. So it only hurt the small SMEs and small businesses. So
True.
the problem the right problem that we actually tackle is like our purchasing power. I think that's circle back to whatever you said on the first one. That's the understanding, even not in the deep understanding, is just like basic understanding of how it works and what does inflation means,
True.
why this mean, what is purchasing power means.
True.
It's essentially, I don't even know about this still, like two years ago, I guess.
Yeah,
It's like-
most people won't know this. Even one of my colleague from European, he was from Cyprus. He mentioned to me he did a research paper in terms of the knowledge of economy that people have, and the shocking finding that he found out is that he find out most. I'm not sure the percentage, maybe more than 80%. Most of the people in his country doesn't even have any basic knowledge about economy.
basic knowledge.
Basic is just like what is inflation, what is interest, how the economy works, how the bank give you loan and all that. Those are I would consider
Yeah.
basic, and
Cycle
they don't
of
even
money.
know that. Yeah. So correct. Yeah. In this sense, like because Malaysia really relies on SME for our economy. If you can see a lot of like you say Cheng, all these small businesses, they can afford to. These small changes hurts them more than the big, like you said, the big boys, because they can afford to make these changes because they operate globally. And imagine if I have a company who's been doing importing goods from the United States or other country, and because our currency are now devaluing a lot, I have more incurred costs, and now suddenly the government requested for me to increase wages. And if I explain it to my workers, they won't understand it because, of course, I cannot show my balance sheet, but
Yeah.
the cost that I have to incur is much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they care at the end of the day is that they are paid there, which is actually rightfully so because
Yes.
they have mouths to feed too. Yeah. It's tough we live in, man. So yeah, before we wrap up, you have last word or something?
I mean, my last word is that whatever I've said in this session is not a financial advice. I'm just someone who was invited to this podcast who I would say have a little bit of like exposure or
Right.
I cannot say I'm an expert in this field, but I know because I am very passionate because whatever I've learned about economics, the financial sectors, it revolves in our daily lives. Imagine if you can understand mathematics can be used in your daily lives. That's a game changer. If you can do Pythagoras theorem in your daily lives, which is impossible even for me to understand it. But when you seeing the way I see and believe how the world economic works, then you start to understand where the passion come for this economic and to understand about our whole financial industry. For those like if you can have your times every day to kind of read the basic stuff about finance and economy, it's going to give so much huge gap between those who knows and those who doesn't know. And in case you are interested in trading, I would say learn from yourself. Do not take any advices from the internet. Because they have a conflict of interest with the advice they are giving you and the thing that they receive from you. That's why you have to learn it yourself. Invest your own in reading books. If you guys, whoever are interested in finance and interested in learning about investing and also trading, you can read on Mark Douglas. And also there was the one odd book that I also learned as well, which from the author Van Tarp. Those are the two authors I am currently reading, and they are mostly about psychology. It's not about economy, no. It's only
Okay.
about psychology.
Okay.
That's why I said to you, I'm learning more about myself than the thing itself. But yeah, that's, I think, my final word for this.
Yeah, man. I think that's wrap it up, man. Thanks for coming, man. I think that's a really
Thanks, thanks Fitri, for the
thing.
session. Yeah.
I haven't really talked about this much. Yeah, I do have some interest, but not in depth, because I was asking people left and right about how to do this thing, not because I really want to do it. If I want to do it, I want to do it. I just want to buy gold and stuff, because that's where
That's
I
the
feel
most-
like it's secure.
That's the most secure,
The
and I
most
would say the
secure and
most common.
reliable.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really think about blockchain and crypto and stuff. I mean, when you want down with it, you're down with it, man. You don't drag me on
Even
that.
I didn't invest in crypto yet.
Nah.
Even though I write a paper on crypto, I didn't invest myself in crypto because of the uncertainty that it
Yeah.
has. And even though it can make you rich, but I don't believe rich in one day.
Ooh.
I believe in a long term, long term building yourself and also
Old school,
your wealth.
old school way.
Old school, but
Old school
sometimes
way.
I like a little bit like fast, because when I learn about trading itself, that's why it's both of it. It's fast and also not fast at the same time.
Right. Thanks, man. Thanks for
Hey,
coming.
thank you, Fitri.
Right. Thanks for watching, man. Do you have any last
guys.
word? Last. No.
No.
Nope. Right. Yeah, I think we're done. We're done. Thanks, guys.